about time for the rams to go out, so I guess it's check the rams time.
Yeah, very pertinent to talk about mating soundness in rams. And there's a lot of factors that sort of we need to look at when we're dealing with mating soundness. And I guess just like always, in my opinion, the best person for the job is going to be coming from the local vet clinic. And I think the benefits to sheep breeding enterprises should go without saying when it comes to ram soundness. So as far as looking at the physical attributes of the animal, there's a lot that needs to be kept in mind. And in particular, the musculoskeletal system. We always think of genitalia when we think about mating soundness, but of course, if you haven't got a very structurally sound and fit animal that's not limping, you're not going to get much action when it comes to mounting and mounting behaviour and the actual mating procedure itself. So ensuring that you've got, you know, simple things such as foot rot and this kind of thing under control in the ram flock is very, very important, and good musculoskeletal soundness. So any of these old injuries that aren't infectious, that can't get sorted out quite simply, that might leave an animal with an inability to mount, is going to obviously have an effect on their ability to leave lambs in the long run. So leading on from that, we can get into the sort of the nitty gritty, and if we're thinking about mating soundness, the first thing that I always look at when we're examining rams, once I'm happy that they're structurally sound, is the scrotum, and very, very important, and actually the area that gives us a lot of problems for a lot of common diseases. The big thing obviously is scrotal mange, caused through a little skin parasite that results in the skin of the scrotum getting very, very thick, results in overheating of the testicle, and of course that affects sperm production. But maybe something that's not thought of enough is actually woolly scrotum. So of course we all know the fibre wool is it's great as an insulator, and that's why we have great garments and carpets and things made out of it. But of course when we've got it growing on the scrotum, we can get the same effect with overheating. So making sure that we're obtaining lines of ram that don't have this attribute is obviously very, very important. When we're talking about selecting lines of rams to breed from, it's going to have a major impact on the fertility of that ram.
What about things like pistol rot? Is that still around?
Pistol rot is still around. It's an interesting disease, and it is one that can be easily forgotten to look at. I mean, often we're concentrating on the testicles and the scrotum, and it is very, very important to look at the pizzle. Pizzle rot's very a significant disease, and it results in infection and erosion of the prepuce and the penis itself if it's not dealt with adequately. It's caused through a little bacteria that has a unique ability to split urea, which is obviously present in urine, and forms ammonia in the process of doing that. And ammonia, of course, is caustic. It's a caustic substance, and we get chemical burns to the penis and the prepuce, and secondary infections and tissue being lost. So it's very, very very significant disease, very easily treated once it's diagnosed correctly. Simple antibiotics, and actually a shift nutritionally away from high protein feeds to minimise the amount of urea that's excreted. But a very, very important aspect to be looking at.
Because rams are normally sort of left in the paddock and you don't look at them apart from making sure there's some feed out there.
Exactly. So making a point of bringing them in, consulting with the vet as part of a normal animal health plan, and making sure that this is an annual occurrence and it's set in stone well before the rams are due to go out, so that you can ensure that you've got sound rams for mating, is a very important part of the animal health calendar when it comes to sheep breeding units.
So what other things are you looking for?
So feeling the scrotal contents, so actually checking the texture and the size of the testicle is very important. There are diseases that animals can be born with where one or both the testicles are underdeveloped and don't produce sperm very well, and the effects of old injuries, age, and overheating. We can detect that just by feeling. And then of course there's the the very common and well documented and well publicised diseases such as brucellosis, which we pick up in the epididymis, the storage area of the leading from the testicle where the semen is stored, the sperm stored before it's released with ejaculation. And brucella or brucellosis affects that area, which is very important for us to detect, because it's an infectious disease, it's contagious, it's passed from ram to ram. And so detecting these problems and getting things clear is very, very important. Teaser rams are a little trick, and again a reason to get the vet involved and make sure they know the history of all of these rams, because it's a standing joke often when the vet's on board checking these rams to chuck a few teasers in, because they develop unique lesions in the epididymis that feel remarkably like brucella sometimes, and it can be that we can be the butt of a lot of jokes when when the blood suddenly drains from our face when we're faced with the prospect of telling a ram breeder that that there's some lesions in these rams. And,
exactly.
But yeah.
Nick, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I hope you can duck, because you're probably going to get kicked every now and again.
Yeah.